Okay, that's recording. This is the bike. Middle of winter here. You can see my breath. It's cold out here. Just pulled the battery charger off and start the bike up. And happen to have the camera in my pocket from something else I was doing. So I figured, why not do a video clip? Of course, I'm inside the garage, so it's going to be echoey, but you know, a little sound of the exhaust and what have you. And I can't find a damn. I should have grabbed that tripod. Of course, I didn't realize I was going to be taping anything. Let's see if we can. Now that's greasy. This garage is a mess. There's so much junk lying around in here. There we go. That should do it. Ah, crap. Stinking cameras these days. They don't make them with flat bottoms. You can't stand them on anything. How's that? Oh well. Good enough. No, she's gonna tip over. Yeah, should be alright. Hey, who? Wow, I just cranked it over for a minute. Got it pop a few times. She should start up. Nearly. The battery has been fuel on. Yeah, fuel's on. Choke is in. I don't use the choke. That is the VTX-1300C. It's mostly stock. I mean, I took off the factory emblems and put my own little stickers here on the tank, and I've got, you know, some little wolf stickers back there. I painted the engine black. The engine originally, it's a gray, aluminum gray sort of color that just, it's blah. Installed some highway bars, some nice cruise pegs, some additional lights here. Let's see if I can turn those on. Those are just little, what are they called? Cheap little fog lights or what have you, but they have a chrome bezel and they fit nice on the bike. And I did that. Factory exhaust. Factory air box, although the air box, you can't see it from here, but I've cut quite a lot of holes in it on the back side, on the trailing edge here, not on the front, because I don't want any water coming in there. But on the back side, anywhere that was outside of the filter element, and yet not visible from the outside, I cut some big holes, took that rubber snorkel out on the top. Flows more airflow through it than the stock does. The pipes are factory, except they're drilled out. Yeah, you can't really see that without some light down there. But they're drilled out in the back. They're a little louder. Yeah, they'd probably flow a little better. I forget what the actual modification is called. Did some tinkering with the carburetor, you know, added a shim. Again, you know, there's a certain name they use for the specific modification. A lot of accessory wiring up here. I've got some fog lights. I don't know if you can see them or not. Underneath the headlight there. And those are yellow fog lights. And they mount up there real nice, and they're small enough so that the fender on full compression doesn't hit them. But they look good going down the road, and yeah, that's what matters, right? And again, this is drilled out exhaust. She's cold, so I don't want to rev on her too hard, but it sounds great in my opinion. Of course, I am inside the garage, doors closed, so it is going to be deeper and more echoey in here than it would be out on the street. But like I said, it's middle of winter. These saddlebags, they fit nice for the most part, and they work really well. They do rub your fender up here. You end up getting scuffed up paint. And so, you know, I always strip that down and try and put some extra coats of wax on there and build some up. The only issue I have with them is that they sag over time, and they touch this bottom, or top rather, muffler, and it burns the bottom of the bag there. So, you know, at some point, it's gotten to the point now where I don't think it's burning through. I mean, the plastic is hard, and it's half melted, but it's solidified, and it doesn't seem to be burning through any further. But at some point, I'm going to have to get some hard bags or a different mount setup. I like these bags. I like the soft look bags at least, but you can see how much they sag. I mean, I need to get a hard bag mount type style deal with some soft bags or some soft look bags firmly mounted so that they don't droop down and hit the exhaust. That or an aftermarket exhaust, which, you know, given the money, I'd go with an aftermarket exhaust first, but, you know, there it is. It's a nice size bike. It's a heavy bike, but it's a very well handling bike. It's not top heavy, I'd call it middle heavy. It's heavy enough to be really stable in some adverse conditions, but it's still balanced enough to handle really well. And I love it. I mean, I don't know, it's a toss-up whether I love my bike more than my truck or my truck more than my bike. But, you know, it is just such a thrill to ride. And again, you can't really see too well. I've got some, these are vinyl decals basically. I didn't want to paint the tank, I didn't want to ruin a finish on it or anything like that. You know, I'm not an experienced painter and what have you. I did paint the engine, but I mean, that doesn't have to be as perfect as the tank. That's more of a matte finish. I didn't polish the fins. I may at some future date polish the fins. It was just too much of a hassle. I didn't feel like doing it, so I just painted the engine black. At some future date, like I said, I might polish the fins. I think that'll look really sharp. But yeah, I mean, the tank is, these were just cheap little vinyl decals I picked up. And they're just on top of the clear coat. And then, of course, I've got wax over top of those. And I don't have any issues with them. I did, when I installed them, I did leave a little bubble in here, and it drives me nuts all the time. But, you know, they're just little cheap vinyl decals. I can take them off at any time. The original badging came off really nice. For a while, I just had it plain with no badging and no nothing on there. And that's not bad. But, you know, it is what it is. Got the idle turned up a little bit because it is winter, like I said, and she is cold. Normally she's a little bit of a lope to it. But, you know, my bike. We've got, oh, I've got the trip on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. 13,800. So I've got 13,894 on it. And yeah, it's, and the switch I wired in for those lights up there is illuminated. Now on the factory bike, this little square here is a Honda emblem. Just pry that out of there. The switch pops right into it. I don't recall if I had to trim that or not, but you know, the switch is just the right size. I have not had a rattle. A lot of people have a rattle up here with the console and the speedometer. Mine doesn't rattle at all. When I wired this switch in, the wiring is wrapped pretty thick in some taping and what have you, and I think that absorbs anything that would cause a rattle. You know, a lot of guys will put gaskets. There's actually supposed to be some gaskets that go underneath all these bolts. A lot of times when you take it off the first time, they fall off and get lost, what have you. I'm pretty sure I have all my gaskets on there. But like I said, that wiring really tightens this up. I mean, having that wiring pressing against the tank there, in between this and the tank, really firms it up. Well, I can feel she's starting to get warmed up. But, anyway. You hear a little hesitation there when I first get on it. And she's just not quite warmed up.